Hi, Claudia here from Create with Claudia, and I'm so excited to bring you the October block for the 2020 Create with Claudia Mystery Quilt Along. That's a mouthful. And here it is. It's the Contrary Wife. This is the block, I almost dropped it. This is the block that I did for the photo tutorial on my website, which is www.createwithclaudia.com. And again, it's called the Contrary Wife. It's a nice, simple little block. And after this, we only have 2 more blocks. Well, this is October. I'm sorry. We only have 1 more block to make after this. I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. I always love new subscribers. Thank you so much. And I'm also on social media at Create with Claudia, where you can find all sorts of projects that I do on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And most recently, I'm on TikTok, although I don't do a whole lot of videos on there, but every once in a while I do something a little bit fun, so check it out. So thanks so much and enjoy the video. So this month, like I showed you in the introduction, we're doing the Contrary Wife quilt block. It's another traditional one. With this mystery quilt, I did try to stay all with traditional blocks. You're going to be making 2 of them this month, and they're going to measure, each one is 6.5 inches square. Here they both are. It's another easy block to make, and it's using all of the different units we've made before, squares and half square triangles. So I'm going to show you first how to make those half square triangles. If you know how to do them, and by now you probably do, you can just skip forward to the next part of assembling the block. But that's what's nice. This is a nice simple block to make. But first, let me show you all the fabric you're going to need and what you're going to need to cut. So this month we're using 3 fabrics. Again, we're using the fabric A, which is my background fabric, and I've used that in all of the blocks, this sort of beige gold, and in this block it is the equivalent of this white with the green polka dots. So for fabric A, you're going to need a fat 1/8. For fabric B, you're going to need a 7-inch square, and that's going to be green in this case. And for fabric C, you're going to need a 5-inch square. These are pretty small pieces of fabric that you're going to need for this, so scraps are great if you're making a scrappy quilt. It all depends on what you're doing. To make both blocks, you're going to need to cut the following. And the measurements, the fabric requirements I just gave you are for both blocks. But for cutting now, for fabric A, you're going to need 8, whoops, holding the wrong one, 8 squares that are cut 2.5 inches, and that's from fabric A. You're going to need 4 squares cut 3.25 inches. That's going to be for the half square triangles. From fabric B, which in this case is this green, and let me just show you that on this block. In this case, it would be the red. That would be your fabric B. For fabric B, you're going to cut 4 squares cut 3.25 inches. And lastly, for fabric C, which in this case is the red, you're going to cut 2 squares, and that equates to this yellow center here. That's the fabric C. You're going to cut 2 squares, cut 2.5 inches, and that's all there is to it. So again, I'm going to do the half square triangle now. If you know this part, you can go ahead and skip forward, but for the half square triangles, you're going to need the 3.25 inch squares. So to do that, you're going to make 1 block, and you're going to repeat this then when you make a second one. And honestly, off camera, I make both of them at the same time. It's just a lot easier. But to show you, I'm just going to make 1 block. So the first thing you want to do is on the back of the lighter fabric, and let me get the other 2 pieces of fabric. You're going to need the larger 3.25 inch squares of fabric B on this one. But on the back of the lighter fabric, you're going to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. And that's going to be your sewing guide. It's not your sewing line, it's your sewing guide. You're going to sew, and let me just do that. 1/4 inch on each side. And I'm going to repeat that on this one. Oh, well, that wasn't good, but it's okay. It did fine. Whew. I don't know what happened there. Caught the fabric. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to take one of the 3.25 inch squares and then one of these background 3.25 inch squares. You're going to line them up on top of each other, right sides facing together. And along that line that we drew, you're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side. So I'm going to do that on both of these squares because you're going to need to do this twice for 1 block, because one of these gets cut in half and then you have two squares. So I'll be right back. All right, so these have been sewn down both sides. You can see it is sort of hard to see on the beige because I use beige thread. But the next thing you want to do is take your rotary cutter and a ruler and cut on that drawn line, because that's where the line you're going to split in half, and you're going to do that 2 times. Like so, and then you fold it open and you're going to press to the dark side. And then you're going to trim it down. But right now I'm going to cut these in half and then I'm going to press them and I'll show you how to cut them down. Okay, so here are my 4 half square triangles, and all we need to do is trim them and then we can assemble this entire block. So I want to trim them all down to 2.5 inches square. Get rid of those fuzzies. This fabric has a lot of threads on it. Gets a lot of fuzzies on it. I'm not sure why. But anyway, you're going to want this ruler that has a diagonal line on it that makes it the easiest way to cut your 2.5 inch squares. And I line up that diagonal line with this diagonal line. And the first thing you want to do, you can just see how it lines up along there, is you want to make that first corner, you want to even off this side, make it much bigger, well not much, but as big as you can past that point that's, let's see, 2.5 inches. There's your 2.5 inch square that you're going to be cutting eventually, but for this initial cut you want to go past that because you want to make a nice starting point. So there we go. There's your corner, nice sharp, and that's going to be your corner that goes into the 2.5 inch measurement, like so. And you're going to line that up. And then you're going to trim it. And there you have your 2.5 inch square, half square triangle. And I'm going to repeat that. You're going to need 4 for each block, 8 in total for both blocks. Okay, so these have all been trimmed down to 2.5 inches square, and now we're ready to assemble the whole block. And to do that, you're going to need 4 of those fabric A 2.5 inch squares you cut earlier, and then 1 of the center, the fabric C's. And it gets set up, it gets laid out just like this. The fabric A's go in the corner. If I can get it to lay down. And then you're going to put those with the colored, the green or the darker side into the center like so. And that's it. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to sew down each row individually. So I would sew row 1 together, row 2 together, row 3 together, and then I would sew row 1 to row 2, and then that unit to row 3. It's pretty simple sewing. You're still going to keep that 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to go ahead and sew the 3 rows together, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll show you how the finished product looks as well. Okay, so these have been pressed. Here they are. And they are ready to be sewn together. The one thing I did forget to mention is the way you want to press it. You want to press the top 2 towards the outside and the middle row towards the inside. That way when you pin them together, they nest nicely, these corners, and you get some nice sharp points like that, and they sort of nest into each other, fit into each other nicely. So this is where I would pin. Like so. So they join up nicely, and then I would sew my 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to do this on this block. I'll finish it up and we'll show you the finished product. All right, so here we have it. There's my October block for the Create with Claudia Mystery Quilt Along, the Contrary Wife. I don't know why I have problems saying that word so much, but I do. There's the other one. I made 2 of them. My points aren't real sharp there. I'm always a little worried about my points. This one is a little tricky. That's one of the reasons you also have to pin. But there you go. There they are. And let me just show you the summary ones. These are the ones I've been doing for my blog photos. And you can see the difference between my Christmas and my summer. And there you have it. That's the block for October. Okay, I'm back with the October block for the Mystery Quilt Along. Here it is. It's the Contrary Wife. You can see it here, and I'm going to hold it up next to the one we did for the blog photos. And here it is. You can see it in the summery colors and then in the Christmassy colors. I really love the way both of these turned out. This was a fun little block to do. We made 2 of them this month. and we are well on our way. We only have one more block to do. I can't believe it, and that's November, and then we put the whole thing together. So again, I really appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. And follow me on social media at Create with Claudia, where I post all kinds of fun things. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.